Information Canapial presents. The year was 1993. Somalia, a nation on the Horn of Africa, was in the throes of a brutal civil war. Dictator Mohammed Siad Barre had been overthrown, but in the power vacuum that followed, rival warlords clashed. Clan fought clan, the country was ripped apart, the most vulnerable suffered most, famine stalked the land, millions were at risk of starvation, the world watched in horror. This was a humanitarian crisis of epic proportions. The United States, driven by a sense of moral obligation, felt compelled to act. Operation Provide Relief was launched, its aim, to alleviate the suffering and get aid to those who desperately needed it. American soldiers, young and idealistic, were deployed to this chaotic land. They were not there to fight, they were there to help. Little did they know the horrors that awaited them. The situation in Somalia was more complex than anyone had anticipated. The warlords, hungry for power and resources, were not content with sharing. They saw aid as a weapon. They hoarded it, used it to control the populace, and even attacked aid convoys. The mission was becoming increasingly dangerous. The line between peacekeeping and combat was blurring. Operation Provide Relief, while noble in its intent, struggled to stem the tide of suffering. The situation demanded a firmer hand. The United Nations stepped in, authorizing a more robust peacekeeping force. Operation Restore Hope, led by the United States, was launched. Its mandate was broader: to secure key installations, ensure the delivery of aid, and help establish some semblance of order. American troops landed in Somalia, met with a mixture of hope and apprehension. The presence of heavily armed soldiers brought a degree of stability. Aid deliveries resumed, but the warlords, their power threatened, were not about to back down. Among them, Mohammed Farah Aidid emerged as a particularly ruthless and cunning adversary. He saw the UN forces as an impediment to his ambitions and vowed to resist. Tensions escalated. Aidid's militia, well-armed and fanatically loyal, began targeting UN forces. Deadly ambushes became commonplace. In June 1993, Pakistani peacekeepers were attacked. The UN responded by authorizing the capture of Aidid and his lieutenants. The hunt was on, but it was a hunt that would lead to a devastating confrontation. As the sun beat down on Mogadishu on October 3, 1993, a sense of foreboding hung in the air. Operation Gothic Serpent was about to be launched. The objective: capture key members of Aidid's inner circle. The mission was deemed high risk. Mogadishu was a labyrinth of narrow streets and crumbling buildings, a perfect breeding ground for ambushes. The task force assembled was composed of the Army's elite Rangers from the 75th Ranger Regiment, Delta Force operators, and Air Force combat controllers. These were highly trained warriors. But nothing could prepare them for the inferno they were about to enter. The stage was set for a battle that would become etched in American military history. The mission began. Helicopters roared over the city, kicking up dust and sand. Rangers rappelled down to secure the target building. Everything seemed to be going according to plan. Then, the unexpected. An RPG slammed into one of the Black Hawk helicopters, Super 6-1. It spun out of control and crashed into the crowded streets below. The mission, in an instant, spiraled into chaos. Section 4, Black Hawk Down: Descent into Chaos. The crash of Super 6-1 sent shockwaves through the task force. It was a catastrophic turn of events. Another Black Hawk, Super 6-4, was also hit and crashed. The soldiers on the ground were now trapped in a hostile city surrounded by Aidid's militia. The situation was desperate. A frantic rescue effort was launched. The surviving soldiers, outnumbered and outgunned, fought with incredible courage and tenacity. They endured wave after wave of attacks. Ammunition was running low, casualties were mounting. The streets of Mogadishu were transformed into a nightmarish battleground. Amidst the carnage, acts of extraordinary heroism emerged. Delta Force snipers, Gary Gordon and Randy Shugart, volunteered to hold a position near the crash site of Super 6-4, protecting the injured crew. They fought valiantly against overwhelming odds, knowing their sacrifice would buy their comrades precious time. Their bravery, later recognized with the Medal of Honor, became a symbol of the indomitable spirit of those who fought that day. Section 5. The Battle's Eerie Shadow. The Battle of Mogadishu raged on for hours. The trapped soldiers, their courage pushed to the limit, held their ground against relentless attacks. Finally, as dawn broke, a rescue convoy, spearheaded by Pakistani tanks, reached the beleaguered Americans. The survivors, exhausted and traumatized, were evacuated. They had survived a night of unimaginable horror. The Battle of Mogadishu, later immortalized in the book and movie Black Hawk Down, left an indelible mark on the American psyche. It served as a stark reminder of the complexities of modern warfare and the high cost of intervention. The images of American soldiers' bodies being dragged through the streets of Mogadishu shocked the nation and had a profound impact on U.S. foreign policy. The Battle of Mogadishu was a tragedy on many levels. It is a story of courage and sacrifice, of chaos and confusion, of the best and worst aspects of humanity. It is a story that continues to resonate today, reminding us of the human cost of conflict and the need for thoughtful engagement in a complex world. And remember to subscribe to my channel, like it, and share it so more people can enjoy the content.